important thing to understand about Pete Hegseth is that he's been very clear about what he believes and what faith communities he sees himself as being a part of. He's written books. He has appeared on podcasts. In Hegseth's case, he is affiliated with a conservative sect of Calvinists who have been driving the classical Christian education movement for a long time. He's a member of a community that very much is led by a man named Doug Wilson, based out of Moscow, Idaho. Wilson has been a lightning rod for controversy over the last few decades for his positions on things like slavery and the separation of church and state, and in this case, whether or not women should have the right to vote. He has said that that was bad for the family. Doug Wilson has made the Confederacy a pretty popular trope in Reformed and classical Christian education circles, which has always been interesting to me, given that he is not even a Southerner. Going back several decades, Wilson has really embraced a neo-Confederate strain. 2 decades ago, he wrote a pamphlet entitled Southern Slavery as It Was, with a guy named Steve Wilkins, who was the head of the League of the South, which is listed by the Southern Poverty Law Center as a hate group. Wilson and Wilkins toured with this pamphlet, which essentially argued that antebellum slavery in the American South was a beneficent institution that kept families together and helped expose black families to the gospel. So he really argued full-throated that the institution of American slavery was a beneficent American institution. And we know that Hegseth has studied at this man's feet. He talks on virtually every podcast he has been on about the most recent thing he has read from Doug Wilson. He seems to have consumed all of his books. My biggest concern with that is a man holding these fairly intense, far outside of mainstream beliefs, finding himself in a position well beyond anything he is qualified for or has experience in. I think that that puts us in a position where he is likely going to be leaning on these controversial faith leaders in his life more than somebody with adequate experience for the job might.